Reclaimed is the podcast about the woman's journey of reclaiming her power through somatic work, breathwork, plant medicine, and conversations. I am Kyla Gagnon, and this is Reclaimed. Hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to the conversation. I want to talk today about stress management, which is like one of the least sexy things that we could probably talk about. But on the flip side of being someone who can manage their stress in a good way, it becomes very sexy. So speaking about stress management, because I'm really on this role of like emotional regulation, doors to Breathe with Kyla are opening really soon. We know this now if you've been listening to the series. And emotional regulation and stress management are, they kind of marry. They're not the same. Stress management. Now, I'm a perfect example of this. If you've listened to any of my story, if you listen to like the first couple episodes on the podcast, or if you know me at all, you know that I spent 15 to 18 years in a pretty solid, what would I call that? Like armor of protection and keeping myself very much in the energy of everything's fine and I'm not stressed and look at how good everything is on the outside. And for me, what was happening is my mother had passed when I was 20. My life changed overnight in such a drastic way where I went from, it's like so hilarious to think about how blind I was to this now. I went from living at home, having pretty much everything taken care of for me. I think at that point I maybe paid my own phone bill and probably like my gas and maybe my car insurance. And within days, I had to find a place to live, register for all of my own bills, pay all of my own bills, grocery shop, find a job because I quit working when my mom was sick. Find a job, pay rent, pay bills, groceries, all the things overnight essentially. And although I had family, like my dad was around and I had, a wonderful uncle, I had family, I never asked for help. And I just really bared the burden of all of the extra without asking for anything. And never went to therapy because I had this whole like, no, I'm okay. I'm fine. Onwards and upwards. And I remember then, so fast forward working as a personal trainer, I would work all day. I would be at the gym for probably 5 a.m. for my own workout or for cardio. I was often prepping for something. Here's the thing. Okay. I was often prepping for a photo shoot or a competition or something. So my physical body was under a lot of stress. So lots of training, dieting, and then I would have a 10-ish hour workday, back-to-back clients. And I had no boundaries at this time. So I also would have clients messaging me at all times of day and night about their session or about what to eat or about all of these things. And I would just take it and I would continue on with a smile. And anytime I would go to a naturopath or massage or any type of body work or energy work or health related practitioner, they would always ask, how is your stress level? And now I know it was likely they asked that question based on the symptoms I was coming in with. And because I enjoyed my work and I played this role of everything's good, everything's great, look at how good I am, I would always say, oh, I have no stress. I really like my job, as if my job would have been the only thing that ever contributed to stress. And no one ever really pushed me on that or asked deeper questions, but that was my answer. I have no stress. And so I would have told you at that time, and I know that I did tell some people, that I was like really emotionally regulated. I was emotionally mature. I was able to process, any stressful situation really easily. But what I was actually doing was sweeping everything under the rug and really like letting a lot of it bounce off my armor that I was subconsciously wearing, or I would let it seep in and just accept it as what I was deserving of. And so I wouldn't allow myself to get super stressed. What I would, though, is allow myself to be very unhappy, predominantly in relationships, which, again, looking back, I see that it's because I wasn't navigating my stressors. I was taking everything in, and it was showing up in different ways. So where I'm going with this is what a gift it is to have some tools to, first of all, even acknowledge when there might be stress in your life. And so some really simple things to be aware of. This isn't rocket science. You've likely heard it before, but sometimes we need to hear things a bunch of times before we really let them sink in. And because I work with the body, somatic work and breath work, really working with the body, to notice, when is your body feeling tight? I was just sitting at a computer. Here I am still at a computer, sitting in a different place of my house now. And based on how tall the counter was or the table, I had my shoulders actually quite hiked up for a long period of time. And just even that physical movement, if you were to, hike your shoulders up right now and then just touch the area between your shoulders and your ears, and you can feel how tense that is. That actually sends a message to your body that we're in a bit of stress, right? We're tight, we're ready for fight, we're ready for battle, we're protected. And that then sends a message to your nervous system that we can't be relaxed right now. Something's up. And so even just acknowledging when the body is feeling tight, when you're perhaps, tight in the jaw. So if you're going to sleep at night, just do a little scan. Are my teeth clenched? And what if I could just unclench my teeth? How many of us wake up with sore jaw or grinding the teeth, right? This is coming from repressed expression, repressed anger, stress. We're not managing the stress. Part of stress management also is acknowledging when feelings are coming up, right? Maybe there's a feeling of confusion, or a feeling of nervousness, or a feeling of frustration, or a feeling of agitation, or a feeling of even overwhelm, or like big excitement and having to contain it, right? All of these feelings, a feeling that we don't actually get to express then stays looped in our system, which over time can actually lead to the body feeling overwhelmed, which can lead to stress. And so acknowledging when an emotion or an experience is coming to us, and can we actually give space for that emotion to exist? I was going through a real roller coaster of emotions in the last couple of days. I'm having a ton of revamping the website and memberships and emails, and emails are getting lost. Like my email access to my email is gone. Websites were down. There's been a ton of really bizarre techie stuff. And I've been really in it. Now I've been high functioning and getting things done because there is actually deadlines to things. Like I actually have to get things done. But I turned to Cam yesterday and I said, I need a really big cry. I just need a really big cry. And so that is a way that I can manage my stress, is to actually allow myself to have that big feeling. And to be honest, I just almost needed to say that. And then I took a couple deep breaths, and the feeling of needing to cry actually dissipated. I moved through some stuff even just by voicing it. And so there can be this unspoken, or maybe even spoken, depending on where you were raised and what people you spend your time with, where we're supposed to just like tough it out, hold it all together, put your head down. People have it worse than you. Don't complain, all of those stories. And that's not the way. It's not the move. It's not the thing. I promise you. Our body responds to repressed and suppressed stress in a really clear way that we generally don't want anything to do with. It shows up in dis-ease in the body. It shows up in disease. It shows up in pain. It shows up in illness. It shows up in headache. Shows up in insomnia. It shows up in like irregular moods where we're maybe snapping at people that we don't really want to be snapping at. It shows up in pain in the body. It shows up in really foggy mind where we can't focus on anything and can't get any work done. There's something that needs tending to. So when we can start to actually listen to the language of the body, listen to the signs, listen to the symptoms of that stress kind of creeping in, that sense of overwhelm. And breathwork is such a beautiful tool for this because it's a way out. It's a way to really let some of the overflow out. Right? We can really only hold so much as a tiny little human in this world. And if we don't have a way to release in a way that is safe and contained and not at somebody, if we don't have that, we're going to feel really, really, really overwhelmed, highly stressed, at the breaking point, snappy, moody. So having a way to just release some of that emotion, release some of that energy. Breathwork is my favorite way to do that. Shaking, dancing, yelling. But the first piece of that is acknowledging when we're in need of. So it's acknowledging when the heart rate's coming up, when the body's tensing, when we're starting to move really fast, when we're starting to shut down, when we're starting to be a bit moody, a bit snappy. All of these are signs that we might be stressed and there might be something to look at. So this is all, it's a learning curve. Can we come at all of this with the learning curve mindset? We weren't all raised with this information. And so for a lot of us, it's like unlearning 20, 30, 40 years worth of patterns and behaviors. But one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is a relationship with your body and learning to listen and sense and feel and understand the symptoms that are coming up. If you can start to manage that, I promise you, life will feel easier, but we're going to live longer. I swear to God. With proper stress management, with ways to release the energy, we are going to live longer and happier and like with less fucks to give, because we're like, I'm good. And I speak a lot about like God is energy. Goddess is good because she is so regulated. She's so emotionally regulated. She listens clear as a bell. She knows when the body needs release and she lets it move through. And so we're a couple days away from Breathe with Kyla reopening. This is the old Essentials. The old Breathwork membership has been revamped, renamed, and the doors are opening again. And they're opening just for a short time. So September 16th to 23rd, you have this window to come in. And this is what we do. We breathe a lot. We do a lot of breathwork here. It is a breathwork membership. So we have 2 breathwork journeys every single month. And then you have a whole library of practices to tune into for like more daily practices. We also have connection calls. So we drop in together as community. And it's in those community calls actually that there's a lot of regulation coming through. We're being able to like speak what's up, right? Something might be really big and heavy and present. We get to speak about it, process it, regulate ourselves, and be heard and seen and just held in it without anyone trying to fix. It's really, really beautiful. Love that. So right now, what's the date today? Today's the 14th of September. So you can either join the waitlist so that you're first to know on the 16th, bright and early in the morning. Doors are open. Come join us. So you can do that. Links in the show notes. You can also come to the live event that I'm hosting on the 19th of September. And there's a little bit of info in that coming just right at the end of this podcast. So I don't need to go into it too much here. Anyways, everything you need to know is in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you. I cannot wait to support you in your stress management and in your emotional regulation and just in living a life that feels a heck of a lot better for you and everyone else that you spend time with. I'm running a free event September 19th at 7 p.m. Pacific time. This is the Breathe with Kyla Foundations, and it's a perfect place for you to come if you have questions about breathwork, if you have questions about the Breathe with Kyla membership, if you're already inside the membership and you have questions about the VIP upgrade or the mastermind. This is all going to be covered inside of the event. Of course, we're going to do a breathwork practice together, just a short, sweet one. Link is in the show notes, of course. Would love to see you there. Again, September 19th, 7 p.m., Breathe with Kyla Foundations.